What's up, DBI? Merry Yuletide and Happy Rendomus. Riz here, and yeah, you know we are finally here for the last two or three tiers on our tier list video. So we're going to cover a couple of things today. We're going to cover tier 6, tier 7, and we're going to talk about one more after that. As always, thank you for watching. Thank you for following me on this journey. And let's get started. What's up, everybody? So we're going to talk about tier 6, tier 7. We're going to kind of, as a whole, go over just some general things of what this tier list represents, some of the things that we've been going over for the last 3 weeks now. And hopefully by the end of this, everybody has a clear and kind of comprehensive view on why the tier list exists, or the tier system. I keep saying list. Why the tier system exists, why we approach it the way that we do. Hopefully you guys see the reasoning behind it, and hopefully you just like these videos. Also, since this is going to be the last one on this topic, if there are other things you guys want me to cover in the World Anvil, do let me know. I've kind of thought about doing a spotlight on each one of the races, something a little different of me just sitting down and talking about them, but that's an idea for later. So let's kind of jump into it. So here we are, tier 6. This is it. It's mastery of your form. Legendary power. Tier 6 is where all of the handicaps and all of the training wheels are completely and utterly off. Reaching this level of power has made you one of the most feared and renowned warriors in the entire universe. If the galaxy doesn't know your name by now, you could literally write it on the face of a planet, and nothing but your equals could do anything to stop you. Conquering the galaxy is now well within your ability. Your energy blast can send civilizations to the Dark Ages, and any battle you commit your full power to will probably be written into the history of the galaxy as either the emergence of a destroyer or a savior. Which path will you choose to push your power towards is entirely your decision to make. Like previous tiers, this is also where you develop the power to harness and control your second transformation, making it a viable and accessible weapon in your arsenal of abilities without the threat of blowing yourself up and a major chunk of the planet you are standing on. Examples of tier 6. Now this says the Z Warriors versus the Ginyu Force. Again, I kind of said that was tier 5, so to me, I view tier 6 power level as being Goku versus Frieza before Super Saiyan. And my personal view on tier 6 is you are basically a god, right? You are a god. To the average person, to tier 2 and below, there is no power greater than you. Like, you just are, you're a god. And if you hit tier 6, first of all, congratulations to you. You're now a numbers nerd, right? You're a numbers nerd in the way of you like seeing that red roleplay point number continue to go up, and that's it. You have put in years worth of work on your character. Your character has probably now died more than once and been brought back. Even the feats that it would require to go from tier 5 to tier 6 probably has you on some legendary status. So everything that's written here, I absolutely agree with. But yeah, you're just basically a god, right? There's nothing outside of a tier 7 that is going to challenge you, that's going to push you to really use your full ability. And you have your second transformation pretty much under control. So yeah, I mean, once you go to your full potential, there should not be much else in the universe that can stop you. And this is why I said, like, I feel like around tier 5 is where a lot of the NPCs that we create, these planetary figures, these world leaders, they should stop around there, because if we just try to make them all tier 7, then there's not really a point where someone who has put all this time into their character can really flex and show us, like, hey, this is what I'm about. They don't have to bend the knee to anyone anymore. And also, by tier 6, you're going to have 8 mastery slots. You're going to have 8 unique abilities that you have created that have all gotten stronger and evolved and changed over the years, plus 2 transformation slots. You're going to be pretty much unstoppable. And by this time, you're also going to have, outside of everything else that you have, the ability to do the fusion dance. Now, there is a note on the fusion dance, and it says that the fusion dance and instant transmission techniques are special abilities that must be authorized by an admin to learn. Typically, this involves a special roleplay event for your character where they are taught the techniques. So, while they do come free, right? Instant transmission, fusion dance, you can't just say, like, hey, I just learned it. Like, there needs to be a mini event, something where you role play out with an admin, or if you want to solo it, at least show us, like, hey, this is what's going on. But we would prefer that, just legendary techniques like that be taught. But this would require 2 tier 6s to know the fusion dance. So it's one of those where it's like, we may come back and revisit this. We may revisit the fusion dance because it's gonna be hard, right? Like, I think right now Indon is starting to slowly pull away from Nova in the red race, but they would both have to be kind of going at the same time and speed for them to hit tier 6 together to even make use of the ability. So, but yeah, I mean, there's like, again, there's nothing that can really stop you at tier 6. You have all but planet busting ability and power at this point. The reason that I said pre Super Saiyan Goku and Frieza is because at that point there was nobody else that was going to fight those two, but Frieza was clearly a step ahead. Frieza was that little bit more. Frieza was that, we'll just say, next tier. That next tier would be tier 7. And the first thing of this says you're a god among mortals. I would say at tier 7, if 6 you're a god, tier 7 you are the king of gods, right? Like there's Hades. Hades is super powerful. Hades is the king of hell. He rules the underworld, but Zeus is the ruler above him, right? The one above all. And for mortals, that's where I feel like tier 7 is. Again, to be fair, we have never had a tier 7 character. In all of the years that we've been doing Dragon Ball Infinity roleplay under this tier system, we've never had a tier 7 character. Now, over the years, it was an ungodly amount of red to get to tier 7. I want to say at some point it was like maybe 400, and there's just no way. Might even be closer to 5. And it was designed to be that way. It was designed to be that only the most battle crazy, only the most dedicated and motivated player, the most consistent player, would hit tier 7. And we've had one person that would have hit it a couple of times, but something always happened. There was always something that was like, nope, you just weren't the one. And yeah, we've just never had it. I would like to think of it like a Souls game, right? Throughout the Souls games, you find these corpses, and it's kind of like a lore that Ike threw upon me that I've always thought about, is that I've only ever beaten one Souls game. And I've tried a lot of them, I've played a lot of them, but at some point I just got to a part and was like, nope, this is too hard, and I just quit. So throughout those games, you see random corpses that are laying around. And Ike bestowed upon me, and I don't know if he'll remember this, he was like, those are the corpses of the players who started on their journey. They got super far, but there just wasn't something about them to finish it, and that's where they stopped, right? And that's what I feel like tier 7 is. Tier 7, it's endgame for roleplay. It's, you've beaten it, roll the credits, you sit on your throne, screen fades to black, you've done it. But let's read this. Yeah, you're a god among mortals. Your power is now in its complete form. Nothing in all of the universe can stand above you. This is the ultimate frontier. You have reached the pinnacle of strength in our Dragon Ball Infinity setting. Congratulations. You have worked unbelievably hard to reach this point, and your reward is one last transformation. A power that is world shattering and reality altering. All of the first level transformations, like all of the first level transformations, this one is just as unstable as all the rest, with so much power behind it, it is doubtful anyone will ever be able to truly master its strength, but the power that you gain can literally conquer all of the universe if you so desire. This is the endgame. You will still be able to gain red role-playing points and develop new techniques, but for now, this is as powerful as any mortal can become. Should you reach this level of power, your name will be known and feared by every living being in the galaxy, and any event you commit your strength to will be marked down and recorded in history for all time. That's it. You're Goku and Frieza in the Super Saiyan versus Full Power Frieza fight. You have at your fingertips planetary destruction. You can, at your whim, right, wipe out galaxies if you so desired. Like, you are Super Saiyan Broly, legendary Super Saiyan Broly, right? The South Galaxy has been destroyed by a Super Saiyan. Like, that's you. Whether it be a Saiyan, a Namekian, a Isarian, a Vinian, a Hydian, right, a Kaio, you are the most feared being in the galaxy. And by now you have, we'll go back up here, 10 total mastery slots, 3 transformation slots, Sense, Energy Ball, Afterimage, Sense, Aura Shield, Suppress, Key Transfer, Scattershot, Mastered Sense, Zanzoken, Flight, Telepathy, Destructive Wave, Heritage Ability, Planetary Sense, Split Form, Energy Buster, the Fusion Dance, Galactic Sense, and Instant Transmission. I mean, we have pretty much instant transmission now where people can portal in and out. We can, writer the will, but you get to tell people that my character, I am going to be somewhere else in a split second under my own volition without you just get to be wherever you want to be, and there's nothing that can stop you. You can just do whatever you want. That's why I say you're a king among gods, and everything that you want is at your fingertips. Again, if we ever see a tier 7 character, I challenge you all to reach it. I will be so very impressed. I hope to live for another 80 years, and I get to tell me, I remember when Hyper reached tier 7. Took him 10 years to do it, but he did it. I hope Dragon Ball Infinity is around forever, and your name in roleplay is around forever. It should be. No matter what P-wipe we do, no matter what RP wipe we do, that character's name or those characters' names should be remembered forever. You'd be more powerful than Kaon, well, I don't know, maybe, but you'd be like the god of destruction in our setting. You should always and forever be legend. So that's it. That's the tier system. That's where we thought about for a very long time of hey, how can we make our characters powerful, and how can we do it in a way that seems fair without somebody just being hey, in the game setting, I'm 10Q. And it's the first time I've ever roleplayed, so I'm just going to be 10Q and unbeatable and unstoppable. And what does that even mean? So that's why we went through all of this, and it took a very long time. Big shout out to Lai, Nigmus, Kyrus, Ikenbon, Rendo was on there, 1000, Kurogane, I don't think Rabs was ever really in the discussion for creating the tier system, and I don't think Virgil was really in it. I know Virgil was kind of there, but I don't know how much input. But to everybody that helped us make this system, thank you, because while we may have argued like angry badgers locked in a wet bag trying to swim to the shore, we did it, and this is all of our brain and love child. So for all of you guys, I truly am grateful and thankful for everything that has gone into making this, has gone into developing it. Also, big shout out to Eichenbahn for not only being the driving force behind it, but to preserve it in the way that he has under the World Anvil, and to edit it and to have all these cool graphics and to have typed all this up. He did all that on his own. We put in our input, but he was just like, hey, the forums are going down, and we need a place to store all of our lore and history, or not the forums, the wiki. The wiki is going down. We need a place to store all of this information, and he did all this himself. So thank you, Eichenbahn. But I said that we were going to talk about three. I said we were going to talk about three different tiers. And you might have been asking, like, Riz, but there's only two. Correct, there was only two that we were missing. But there is a mystery third tier. And that mystery tier I have talked about before. Ike has talked about before. I know he's talked about it several times. And it's tier X. And tier X is not listed anywhere here. It's probably never going to be. But tier X is, it's just that tier. Okay, there's no other way I can really say it outside of the song lyric. That, I mean, if you're a hip hop head, you've probably thought about it. Tier X is X gonna give it to you, right? That's just the way that it is. So what is tier X? Tier X is, you are the player. We'll say your name is Cordio. Cordio, you want to go off and have your own adventure, and you run into NPCs, and you run into bad guys, and you get into these villains, and there are some to where if you're telling your own story, it's like, hey, I'm tier 2 right here. And I'm going to beat the hell out of some random NPC, so it's going to be tier 1. And through those battles, I may run into another tier 2 character. I either will win, I will lose, but it's clear that our powers are equal and even, and it's just kind of a toss-up of how I want my narrative to go. But eventually, as most stories, if not all of them go, you do want to have your quote-unquote big bad. You want to have the leader of the faction, the last guy, the evil Geese Howard who's been sitting at the top of the tower waiting for you to go through all of his cronies. You run into him. But along the way, you've brought with you Hypo and Indon even. We'll even throw Saliath out there. So now there are a group of tier 4, tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1 characters who all need to go fight this big bad. Where does he go in here, in this tier list, where he can be a challenge for transformed tier 4 Indon without squashing tier 1 Saliath and soloing tier 2 Cordio and, you know, kind of beating up but not completely destroying in a 1v1 fight tier 3 transformed Hypo? Where does he fit in there? And that's where tier X comes into play, where tier X is exclusively for NPCs, and it's this character is as strong as he needs to be, right? This is designed for NPCs who are meant to be defeated, right? These are not going to be the guys who were like, yeah, you can't touch him. They are designed to be a challenge. They will kind of pull out of their ass some techniques without it being too crazy. So what could a tier X do? Well, if Indon's really giving them the business, but it's not really Indon's story, they have the ability to trap Indon somewhere, teleport him somewhere, some way of getting them to just not be involved in the fight, so that way everybody else can fight them. Or it's like, while I'm fighting you, I'm this strong. While I'm fighting you, I'm that strong. It's more like a in-game, the relationship would be, it's like a a PL mirror mob, right? They're going to PL mirror whoever they're fighting, and they're going to have insanely busted stats to where it's a fight. It's a challenge. Someone could die, right? Depends on the narrative. But they're as strong as they need to be to make the fight interesting, to make the fight cool, to enhance the story, to further the story, without having to be so niche to fall into the tier system. Because really, all of this here is for like a PvP setting, right? It's so that like this tier system exists to stop people from having arguments in chat OOC, to stop people from, if we can't get along, if we can't kind of come to an agreement of how this fight should be going, then let's lean on this, right? If you're tier 3 and you are being just completely outmatched by a tier 2, and you have transformed, then yeah, you'd be like, hey, like, I'm now above you, right? There's no hard number on stats and everything, but I am now fighting at a level that you are not at, so that is the turn of the tide. And we've said this before, not every time that by you just transforming and being a higher tier will that guarantee your win, but it's just kind of how we can come together and have a cohesive conversation about roleplay, about combat and roleplay. So that's it, guys. That's the journey. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Tier X is awesome. It's something that we admins love to use because, again, we can just be like, hey, this character is as dangerous as he needs to be, right? He's either Raditz level power level or he's Gul'dan level power level. He's whatever that, or she, they're whatever strength we need them to be. And it's a lot of fun. So, again, thank you. I'm not going to ramble anymore. This is the end of the video. My name is Riz. You are you. Thank you for your time, and I will see you next time.